The gunfight at the OK Corral is going to seem like a tea party on the White House lawn under the cherry trees in spring. I'm going to take that budget, I'm going to have amendments, I'm going to have motions, and I'm going to tie it up. I promise you that. No threat, it's a promise. Check to see if this old man can deliver on it. And look at what the budget is and see all of the opportunities I will have. I will offer my amendments. And if the Budget Committee gets to move first, all that does is help consume time. But in any case, I shall exact the price. I'm going to work on the judiciary, I'm going to work on that advocacy commission, and I'm going to work where corrections are concerned. I didn't do all that work to come to this point of betrayal. You all can do it, I cannot. The court system. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Chambers. Senator Hardy recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is why debate's good. Senator Chris gave you guys a little secret. I don't know if you guys were paying attention. The may versus shall, right? So this is how fiscal notes work. If the language says may, an agency may do blank, 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 right? Whatever that is. If the governor wants it to happen, it's going to happen. If the governor doesn't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. So when making a fiscal note, they assume it's not going to happen. So it's a zero. If you say the governor shall do it, and there's a cost associated with it, there will be a fiscal note, right? So if you have the support of the corner office, make sure you always use the word may versus shall, because it'll lower your fiscal note. These are tricks of the trade you learn from being here, and there are a lot more. I know 1/100th of what Senator Chambers knows. But I'm learning, and I listen, and I pay attention. These are things, that's why it's so important, folks, that we have these interim fiscal notes, because the estimates are just that, estimates, and they may not be able to give us the full story, and it may not issue spot as well as you want. You heard Senator Stinner say, it's a higher standard. When we're making policy, don't we want that higher standard? Don't we want that information for ourselves? I think so. So, you know, there's a concern, again, that there'll be, we want to do efficiently versus expedite, and that these don't take top priority, that other things take priority over our fiscal notes that we're going to put in rules today, hopefully. I don't know. That's a choice you guys have to make, what should be the #1 priority. Again, this is only an issue if there's pent-up frustration, if there's a pent-up pressure. You can't have it both ways and say it's not really an issue, we do it already, this is going to create more work. So I'm going to take them at their word that this is going to create more work. But I'm also going to take the view that we deserve to have information. And we deserve to know what's going on. The budget is important, but they can also, and pardon the pun, but it's the English language, budget their time. And they need to reserve a certain amount of time, and after a couple of years, they're going to know more or less how much senators want to know. They're also going to know if there are a bunch, let's say Senator Groening's TIOSA is the big issue of the year, right? Issue du jour, or taxes is the issue du jour. There may be a lot of requests out there, but I'll guarantee you they're all very similar, and they all deal with the same area of law and subject matter. And by the way, that fiscal office is already getting themselves up to speed, because they know if they don't do it now, it's going to come at them in January. So I'm not sure that this creates a whole heck of a lot more work, but if it does, that work is giving us information. I don't think that's a bad thing that we have more information. Matter of fact, I will even say, I'll also go so far as to say, it's a good thing that we have more information. Knowledge is power. Will it maybe require a couple more workers? I can't tell you. I don't know the inner workings of the office that well. I'll say yes. But is that a bad thing either? To make sure that we have more knowledge, we make better laws, we're better prepared, we're able to tell our constituents, hey, I would introduce that bill, but here's the fiscal note, and that's just more than I think the body's willing to spend.
1 minute.
Instead, We go through this whole process where we say, yeah, I'll introduce that for you. And then we go back to them. They're excited. We're excited. They come down. They travel from Garing, from you name it, Cozad, maybe even just here in town, but they take a day off. And we have to call them the day before and say, hey, sorry, that fiscal note's just not going to fly. We can't do that. So, again, I think education is a good thing. This change, I'm still thinking about it. I wish I would have had a little more time to think about it. I understand their concerns. It is a difference with a distinction, as I think they'll fully concede, and it's meant to delay the time it takes us to get the information we need. And I'm not sure if it's a valid concern or not. So I'm going to go over and talk to them a little bit more, but I want to thank them for working with me, and I do appreciate Senator Stinner for stating if this does pass, he will support the underlying
Senator.
rule. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Senator Stinner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the legislature, I do want to start by apologizing. I usually do this behind the mic, and I've just been a little bit busy here lately, so Senator Har and I have not had a chance to exchange these ideas and thoughts, and I apologize. Anybody that knows me knows I don't like being on the mic, period. So, but I do know one thing, that making decisions in a vacuum, there's generally some really bad outcomes. We need to have all the information in front of us in order to make good, accurate decisions. And that's why I look at the fiscal office and I see Mike Calvert and that staff, 20, 25 years, 30 years of experience telling me, relating to me, workload, process, how they work with other agencies. The fact that the other agencies many times are either stacked up or ill-staffed or the bill's complicated. A primary example today was I was asking them, as these bills come down from up here that are put into the process, there is no statement of intent. Well, without a statement of intent, that means that fiscal person has to read that whole law, depending on depth and complexity, interpret what the intent is, and then pass it along to the agency. Many times, too, in the process, you know, PRO gets involved with code agencies, and that could clog the process up. But I want to say this, and I want people to understand, the people in the fiscal office care deeply about the product that they're turning out. They are the purveyors of information. I get the fact